In this lecture, we'll be discussing about M.N. Srinivas, his books, his contributions, and some of the facts that are very important with the exam perspective. So let's begin. Mysore Narasimhachar Srinivas or M.N. Srinivas was born in 1916 and he passed away in the year 1999. He's one of the pioneers of Indian sociology and he established the discipline of sociology in independent India. And the perspective that he used was structural functional perspective, which we have already discussed what it is. He rejected the methods that were used by the Indologists at that period of time, and he said that we should move towards ethnographic method, field work, and participant observation method. His studies were based on micro-empirical setting, and he rejected the book views, saying that it was not very useful because the society after independence was changing. Okay, India was witnessing a lot of changes in the caste system, in the villages, everything was changing. Therefore, book view was not of very much use at that period of time. It could be used as reference, yes, but he said that the focus should be on ethnographic method, and he considered book view as conjectural history. That means there is incomplete information if we only go by book view. He was influenced by one of his teachers, Radcliffe Brown, and that is why he started studying caste and villages in India. Some of the important books by him are given here. You can take a screenshot and go through them. You need to remember some of the important books like Remembered Village and The Dominant Caste, India's Villages. These are some of the books, especially Remembered Village, where he studied about the Rampura village. It was something which was not so much focused on the social jargons and sociological imagination, but this was an attempt to connect to the masses. This was an effort to connect with the people of the villages, the people of India, and make them understand about the villages, the reality of the villages. Coming to his contributions, his main ideas of study revolved around Indian society, village communities, Indian caste system, the changes that were taking place in the caste system, and the role of social mobility. His very important and famous concepts of Sanskritization, where he studied the Coorg village, and among the Kurds he found out that there is a dominant caste and there is a caste, the lower caste people, they are trying to adapt to the lifestyle and habits of other people who are dominant people like the Brahmins. So this concept was earlier known as Brahmanization, but on the grounds of various criticisms, and he also understood that it is not only just one caste that is kept as a reference group. The reference group can be many other castes also. Okay, if A is a dominant caste for B, maybe B is also a dominant caste for C. Therefore, this term was changed to Sanskritization from Brahmanization. Other important concepts were westernization, the impact of imperialism on the Indian society, secularism at vote banks also, which still play a dominant, role in the study of sociology of Indian villages. Now, at that period of time, when Srinivas was doing his studies, he rejected the book view of society. At that period of time, the Orientalists and the Indologists, who typically, relied on books, texts, and literature to go on with their studies, he rejected that. Why? Because he said that the drastic changes that were taking place in Indian villages, they called for field view and intense field work with the participation with the local communities. Once there is a participation, the researcher gets a clearer idea, the true picture. Okay, and there's also a quote which says that the result was the rejection of an essentialized and static view of Indian society. The static view of Indian society at that time was that it is a rigid and inflexible society. Because of what? The Chaturvarna system that we had at that period of time, which was governed by changing religious beliefs and laws. So they said that it was change, there was nothing changing, because the society was so rigid and the society was so inflexible. But he said that Srinivas was against that. He said that this is not true. Even when the sociologists like Karl Marx and Henry Maine believed this view, he rejected this and he said that no, it is dynamic in nature, it is not static. So when he said that caste was of utmost importance and it was changing, so there were a lot of views which questioned, was caste about to disappear? He said that caste was not about to disappear, but would rather transform in manifold ways. Okay, from the Chaturvarna system to where we stand today, if you look at the Indian society, it has transformed in various ways. And this is why he was interested in studying the dynamics of caste relations instead of the static view of caste relations, because that was a very obsolete view. Okay, India was under colonialism, and a lot of factors, a lot of situations, they emerged because of the rule of Britishers. Once India became independent, caste as an institution also became independent, and gradually it started changing. He also coined this term functional unity, which is nothing but, you see how there is an interaction with the ritual context of different castes, and he studied this in the Coorg and Rampura villages, where he observed that various castes, whether they are wherever their position is in their own specific societies, they had some kind of interaction. Why? Because they were dependent on each other. So there is an interdependency. Because of this interdependency, there was a functional unity. Because of this functional unity, so many castes could survive in one village altogether. See, the Brahmins, no matter what status and privileges they enjoyed, at that period of time, their occupation was limited to being priests in the temples. So, there were a lot of other things that they could not do. To complete that, those other needs, those other requirements, they needed the support, they needed the help of other castes. And because of this functional utility, they brought about functional unity and started living together. The next and important concept is also secularization, and we'll also be discussing vote banks. Secularization, according to Srinivas, is the process of innovation. Innovation in what? In institutions of the society, and also the ideological formulation, which was dominantly after independence. Because after independence, what happened after partition specifically, there were a lot of questions which were arising with respect to the religious groups and with respect to minorities. So, what happened? As a result, the government had to do something in order to press those problems, to press those questions also. So the institutions, they came together and they started innovating. As a process, secularization came into being. Thus, religious was stopped giving a lot of importance in order to sustain all the religions together in harmony and balance in one society. Another key term given by him was, vote bank politics, which is still of relevance in the villages of India today. He talked about vote bank politics as the relation that people had with the landed people who could be useful when it came to politics. So, how there is a relationship between the people who have power and how they maintain relationships with the people who are, say, farmers, say, peasants, in order to do what? In order to gain votes. Let us discuss some questions. Cultural imitation by the Dwaja for Srinivas meant, so Dwaja were the twice born or the lower caste groups as described by Srinivas. So Brahmanization, or what is known as Sanskritization, now there was the cultural imitation by the lower caste people of the upper caste people. Next question. Srinivas considered villages as, so the answer will be option number B, microcosm of Indian civilization and a ground for retaining traditions. It is a microcosm of Indian civilization and Indian society because it is from villages only that the towns also emerged, and it gives a smaller picture of the bigger picture of India as a civilization. Okay, and it is also a ground for retaining traditions. All the traditions of our society are still present in the villages. If you ever get a chance, you could go and you can understand how contrasting is the life in a village to a society, urban society that we live in today. But at the same time, it gives a picture of some qualities that still exist, and therefore it is the microcosm of Indian civilization and Indian society. Thank you for watching.